the White House just announced it will postpone that second meeting with Putin, where the president over Twitter had offered this invitation to come to the White House in the fall. Will postpone that until the Mueller probe is complete. Let's remember, we still know nada about that first summit in Helsinki, the summit in Helsinki, 9 days after it happened. So our senior White House correspondent Jeff Zeleny is standing by. Gloria Borger is as well, our chief political analyst. But Jeff, first to you, talk to me about why this postponing of this meeting is such a big deal.
Brooke, this is very significant. I mean, you'll remember that this meeting is being delayed just about as fast as it was abruptly scheduled last week. It took many people by surprise, particularly members of the National Security Council, other advisors, and the Director of National Intelligence by surprise last Thursday when he was on stage. We all remember that moment out at the Aspen Security Forum when Andrea Mitchell advised Dan Coats that the White House had invited Vladimir Putin to come to Washington. He was, of course, gobsmacked by that, and he, expressed the surprise of the administration. Well, it's clear now that the meeting is being delayed. They're saying it's because of the Russia investigation, but Brooke, it's actually more than that. Remember the criticism really across the board, particularly from Republicans who said they did not want Vladimir Putin in Washington at all, certainly around the midterm elections. And more importantly, more to the point, Moscow had never accepted this invitation. The Kremlin acknowledged the invitation, but did not accept the invitation. So the White House, to me, appears to be trying to head off potentially an embarrassing decline of a meeting by saying, no, we're going to put this off until next year. But Brooke, they do not know when the Russia investigation is going to be over. It's likely to be continuing next year. So this is certainly one of the reasons why usually meetings of this magnitude are not announced over social media. They're agreed upon privately and then announced to avoid moments like this. And we should point out, no accident that it's coming right before the Secretary of State, of course, is getting a grilling there by the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Certainly this question was going to come up, this second meeting, either a do-over or doubling down. Now it's been delayed, Brooke.
I mean, to your point about it being embarrassing, Gloria, it's like asking someone to dinner, like sticking your neck out there, asking someone who maybe isn't a favorite of your friends, and the person never responds, and they leave you hanging, and you're like, okay, just kidding, we'll have dinner next year. I mean,
never mind.
Right.
Never mind. Well, look, I can imagine congressional leaders who met with the president were not happy, I think, and Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that this was tentatively going to be set for November 2nd or something like that before the election. And, the optics of having Vladimir Putin here or another summit right before the midterm election is probably not something that they were thrilled with. And politically, it just didn't work for them. I think Trump wanted to do it because he was upset that people were criticizing him about his first meeting with Putin and maybe had a little bit of a tantrum about it, who knows, and decided to have a second one. But I think other voices prevailed, and the excuse, as Jeff points out, about the so-called Russia witch hunt is very interesting to me because we have no idea when that will be concluded.
Yep. Excellent points. Let me ask the two of you to stand by because we're looking at these live pictures inside this hearing room. Let's go to Capitol Hill, where any moment now we will see Mike Pompeo, the Secretary of State, speaking, being questioned in front of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. So Manu Raju is our senior congressional correspondent. He's up in one of these hallways right around the corner from this hearing, and Michelle Kaczynski is there. She's our senior diplomatic correspondent. Manu, to you first. You have been talking to lawmakers about what they want to know from this secretary, namely the fact that he said in the last 24, 48 hours, many things came of this summit. No one really knows what those many things are. How do you think that he will be treated today, and especially from Republicans?
Well, I think we'll get a good sense of that in about a minute. We're actually going to see the Senate Foreign Relations Committee chairman right here, Bob Corker. We'll see if we can get him to wait. Senator, what's your reaction to the delay of this Putin meeting?
I think it's great.
Do you think
I have a better reaction.
We're 2 minutes late. 2 minutes late. We got to maintain the hallway, guys. Come on.
It's a little.
Everybody get back up against the wall for me here, please.
It's a little bit of a mosh pit here, Brooke, as you can see.
We're still with you.
But you could hear Corker say it was a good idea to delay the meeting. The idea of having this second meeting came under fierce criticism, Brooke, from both parties, concern because it's still unclear exactly what the president agreed to behind closed doors. Even some of the key committees on Capitol Hill have not been briefed about exactly what happened here. Earlier today, I talked to Mark Warner, the Senate Intelligence Committee chairman, who told me that he also has not been briefed, his committee, despite their role overseeing the intelligence community. Take a listen. You guys haven't gotten a briefing?
We have not. No, I think the Foreign Relations Committee is going to get the first level brief from Secretary of State Pompeo today. My concern is, I think Secretary Pompeo will give his straight version of the facts, but we don't know if the president even relayed truthfully to Secretary Pompeo. So that's one of the reasons why there's huge concerns on both sides of the aisle.